you basically have the whole world in one little building, and whatever was happening around the world at the time, you had people who you could talk to, and they would share their personal experience with that event. Therefore, my education there was filled with like very personal touches, whatever topic we were discussing. And I think it was very unique and important experience, because usually academic knowledge can stay as text on a paper, but once you meet the people from the backgrounds, it cannot stay just a text. You relate to them in a different level.
Einmal.
Balkans Calling. Voices from the region.
Hello and welcome to the new episode of our podcast series, Balkans Calling, Voices from the Region. My name is Aleksandra Salamurović. I am academic coordinator of the Seafield project. In today's episode, you'll meet our pre-doc fellow, Nana Saralishvili, a historian from Georgia. Over the past several months, she has been working on a comparative study of Bible translations, focusing on their role within the ideological and political struggles in both Georgia and the Balkan states. Hello, Nana.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
We are also very glad to having you here. To kick things off, could you tell us a little about yourself and what inspired you to choose this topic in the first place?
Well, my name's Nana. I'm here at Seafield as a pre-doc fellow. Before this, I was in Vienna at Central European University doing my master's in comparative history. And before that, I did my master's in Ilia State University at the new master's program, Modern Georgian History. And before that, my BA was in liberal arts, so I come with a diverse background. And as for what inspired me to pursue this academic subject, I would say it's a combination of both personal life experiences and also my academic experience. And this topic of Bible translation and at large role of religion within nationalism and national histories seemed to be a logical next step to pursue. As I grew up in a Protestant family in Georgia, religion was always at the forefront of my landscape, so to say. And on my BA, one of the classes I had was called Soviet Heritage, and it was my first crossover with dealing with history. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would be interesting to dedicate my time and efforts in my future academic career to researching more about that. And during my MAs, I did my research in Soviet religious policies and how they used religions on the international setting to further their agendas, we could say. And more precisely, I researched World Council of Churches and participation of Georgian Orthodox Church I'm gonna start over. So I researched World Council of Churches and the participation of Georgian Orthodox Church in the assemblies of the World Council of Churches, especially in the Cold War context.
Okay. Your topic is quite interdisciplinary. I mean, now your current topic, because you are here to prepare your PhD proposal. And this topic covers history, linguistics, religion, translation, and, as you mentioned, nationalism studies. How do you approach this kind of interdisciplinary work? Can you share some tips and tricks from your experience until now?
Well, the first tip would be don't panic. It's always
very important tip.
It's always kind of intimidating to start off a topic that crosses over through so many fields. And at first glance, it almost feels impossible. But what I've discovered throughout my studies, and especially my time here, is that if you look at the topic close enough, all the academic research topics are interdisciplinary in themselves. It just depends how we approach them. For me, coming here, the element of linguistics and part of the field of linguistics was completely foreign to me. Mm-hmm. And my original idea, even though it was indeed about Bible translation and its role Coming here, my idea was to look at Bible translation in historical and political context. But this fellowship gave me a possibility to talk to a lot of professors at the university within the project, and I understood that like linguistics could be another field. I could look at this from another lens. I could analyze I could analyze this historical event almost. So I think interdisciplinary projects seem like tangled threads, and just have to start by pulling one at a time, and then you'll see where it leads you. So it gives you certain freedom because you're not constricted only in one field, but also it gives you challenge to deal with all the respective fields with proper respect and training. And I hope this proposal will give me a chance to kind of further my knowledge in this.
Mm-hmm. And how do you plan to combine Georgian experiences and those from the Balkan states? If I'm not wrong, you will concentrate on Bulgaria and maybe Romania from the region of Southeastern Europe. How do you plan to combine these two worlds?
So it was difficult to choose comparative cases, and the structure I landed on is going to be almost asymmetric comparison with like main focus on Georgia, but I will pull the cases to compare from other countries. Mm-hmm. And the main thread that I'll be pulling on is the Eastern Orthodox Christian setting. And I will look at Ukraine as well, and also Bulgaria is one of the cases too. Looking at Bible translation histories, and especially Bible translations into vernacular languages, very much correlate with movements of national revival and movements for national self-determination. And this correlates not only in topic, but also in time frame. Late 19th century, or like second half of 19th century was commonly experienced in these countries. So this is my approach to this. Mm-hmm.
Great. Yeah, I would like to talk about your academic topic more, but there are also some other questions and issues that are so interesting about you, and I would really like us to focus maybe on that part more. During your BA and MA studies, as you mentioned, you spent time abroad a few times, right? And but this is the first time you are in Germany, if I'm not wrong. So what are the main differences in academic life between countries you've been in till now?
A very interesting question. It has been very diverse experience throughout my academic life because, as I said, my BA was in Georgia, but for my Erasmus, I was in Uppsala University for 2 semesters. So that was a very particular Erasmus experience I had in Sweden, and that was my first touch with European education system. My master's I did first in Georgia, but then I did it at Central European University, and I'd say this university itself is a very unique it's a very unique place to study at because you basically have the whole world in one little building. You basically have the whole world in one little building, and whatever was happening around the world at the time, you had people who you could talk to, and they would share their personal experience with that event. Therefore, my education there was filled with like very personal touches, whatever topic we were discussing. And I think it was very unique and important experience because usually academic knowledge can stay as text on a paper. But once you meet the people from the backgrounds, it cannot stay just a text. You relate to them in a different level. As for Germany, well, here I am as a predoc fellow, which is completely different experience from any other that I've had. Here is the first time I have my independent pace of research and study. During these 6 months, I had freedom and privilege to dedicate however much time I wanted to reading different books that were available at the library and talk to the professors that were here that I would not have a chance to meet or discuss my topic with in any other setting. So this was I would say this was a little practice run for what is to come during a PhD studies. So these the countries are very different. And for instance, in case of Uppsala, the way the term is planned is completely different. And the first glance, it was very strange for me, but it's it's a different way of approaching how you deal with different subjects. For instance, some of the classes did not run for the whole semester. It was only intensive 2-week class, and then you would start something else after that. So you had chance to focus on this particular subject in a short amount of time, and then move on to the next one, rather than like dealing with a lot of subjects at the same time, which is my Georgian experience. We had to do 5 courses every semester, and then it ran whole semester, and you had to write 5 papers. So it was another thing. And at CU, it was a nice freedom to not have like a top limit of how many classes you could take. But it's also easy to exhaust yourself in that setting. But here, as I said, I had a completely unique experience of how you do research and how you relate to academic stuff and projects. So, yeah.
Have you met a lot of other pre-doc or PhD scholars dealing with your topic or similar topics here?
No. I think because my topic is, on one glance, a bit niche, but also interdisciplinary. I didn't meet anyone who dealt with like exactly my topic, but what was better even, I think, was that I met with people who worked on either religious studies part of studies, or looked at nationalism studies, or had background in nationalism studies. So all these different perspectives helped me analyze my own topic better. So sometimes it's even better if you don't meet somebody who does precisely your topic, because it helps you expand your way of thinking and dealing with your own research project.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And what about your experiences in everyday life? I moved to Regensburg 2 years ago, and I remember I was in Germany already, so I moved here from another federal state, and I remember it felt for me like I had moved abroad. Bavaria and Regensburg was another world for me back then. And what are your experiences? How do you like Regensburg and people you met here?
It is definitely a different country, especially considering I've been to Germany only briefly, like a couple of days trip, not longer, and it's my first time in Bavaria, and first time living here, and it's been quite an interesting experience. One of the first things I remember was going to the bank to open my account, and I saw a wooden cross there, which I didn't expect I would see religious attributes in like public spaces. And I'm coming from Georgia, which is quite heavy on religious attributes. But for a long time, there was a process of like removing this from secular spaces. But I came here and there was a wooden cross in bank and in a guest house. So it was an interesting kind of cultural crossover somehow. As for the people that I met here, I don't know if it would be fair enough to say that they're representative of what Bavaria is. I'm pretty sure that I've had like very limited experience of Bavaria. But my time here has been marked with like friendly, welcoming, kind, supportive people, whether as friends or in academic field. So it's been an amazing experience.
It is said that Regensburg is a very multicultural and multilingual city. Does this fit your experiences here? How many Georgians have you met here, actually, if any at all? And do you hear Georgian? Did you hear Georgian on streets during your stay?
It is very international. Especially, I had the luxury of taking German class at the university for 3 months, and my class was full of people from everywhere, basically. But in the city itself, for first few months, I only knew one Georgian girl that was studying at the university. But interestingly, this summer also coincided with the time of Euro Cup.
Yeah.
And during the Georgian matches, I saw these Georgian people coming out of wherever they were hiding before, so to say. So we went to this one match, and there were like people with flags, and I met this woman who said she's been living in Regensburg for 28 years, raised her kids here. I never realized in a small city like Regensburg, somebody from Georgia could have built life here. Also met somebody else whose landlord is Georgian, so apparently Georgians are here and very actively involved in public life, but it took me some time to find them because I don't really hear much Georgian in the streets. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and how is this different? I mean, okay, in respect to Georgian, it's different, of course, but how is multilingualism here different in comparison with your hometown, Tbilisi, a capital of Georgia?
I would say you hear more languages in Regensburg in your daily life. But I would also say that Tbilisi, my hometown, is changing as the time goes by because we have students coming from India and African countries. So the landscape is changing a lot as well, which is nice because Tbilisi has always been a diverse city with a huge Armenian population historically and Azerbaijan population. Also, we had Yazidis and all these people who lived there as a part of one community. And it's nice to see that it's like diversity growing. But it's a very different diversity still compared to here.
Okay. You spent 6 months here as a CPhil Predoc Fellow, as we said at the beginning. Predoc Fellowship is a program that helps young scholars work on their PhD proposals for external funding. How did this fellowship impact your academic development? What do you think now, after 6 months, are the program's strengths and weaknesses? Can you give some tips for the future pre-doc fellows?
Definitely apply. Looking at my project, I think it would not have been what it is today. And I submitted my draft to my supervisor just a week ago. Being here gave me time and space to work on it in a way that I couldn't have done it anywhere else. Because usually you're expected to work on your PhD proposal when you're in the panic of finishing your MA, and it's really hard to focus on anything else when you're doing that. But other than that, as I said, I came here with a certain idea, but developing this idea was really benefited by spending me being here and reading all this literature that was available, but also talking to people. Even those who were not dealing with Georgia or not dealing with modern history, they still had really brilliant ideas I could consider and think how I could change my topic and develop it further. And as I said, I didn't even think about having a linguistic part to this proposal, but then it just made so much sense to include this. So it's a really nice, almost like 6-month laboratory that you have to work on your topic and see where it goes and ask questions and discuss them. And you might not have time or luxury of this in any other setting.
And weaknesses? Yeah, for sure, weaknesses of the program.
I would say weakness might be that you could be more involved in university life. Because sometimes academic life can be a bit isolating. But being involved with events or like getting to take part in workshops, etc. Sometimes not all the information comes through, so you could use and take advantage of these opportunities. I'm glad that I took part in the things that I could, but maybe there could be even more that could have been done, but I just didn't get the information about. But maybe that's the tip for the future ones: just keep the eyes open for whatever is available at the university.
Okay. How did you find out about the fellowship program, actually?
Through my good friend, actually. My friend, I met her at Central European University. She's also from Georgia, but she did her studies at the Free University of Georgia, of Tbilisi. And she sent me this email one day saying, "Oh, this looks something that you might be interested in. Do you want to have a look at it?" And I did, and it was just perfect for what I needed at the time. So it came through a friend's email, and I think she received it from the university kind of notification that it was available.
Okay, great. Okay. Your stay here is coming to an end. What are the next steps? What are your expectations for the near future, let's say?
I hope and I believe that the proposal will come to a successful result, that I will be applying to PhD projects and hopefully getting a couple of acceptance letters that I can then choose from. So that's my next step. I will be applying. I also have planned that I'm going back to Georgia for the foreseeable future before the PhD plans pan out. But October is going to be a very busy, interesting month. We have elections coming up, and it's going to be crucial decision that we as a country will be making. So I'm glad I get to be there during that time. So yeah, that's the closest range of plans for now.
Okay. And for the end, a little birdie told me that you're going to give a toast at a wedding at your homeland. And I was wondering, can you reveal a line from it for us?
Yes. I have a pleasure and honor to be a co-toastmaster, Tamada, at my brother's wedding very soon. And the line I could share with you is the toast that almost every Georgian feast, every Georgian supra starts with, which goes like which means glory to God and peace to us. So most of the time you start your celebration with toast for peace, and then you say it with Gaumarjos, which means victory too.
Okay, so interesting. And what is the answer to it? Amen or cheers or
cheers? And Georgian translation of cheers would be Gaumarjos.
Oh, it sounds a little bit complicated.
A little bit.
Maybe you should stay a little bit more for me to learn more of Georgian.
I'd love to.
Thank you, Nana, for this lively and engaging conversation. And thank you for being here with us. I'm excited to see where your journey takes you, and I wish you best of luck.
Thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity as well. And I will definitely keep in touch with Seafield.
Do that, please.
Check out the podcast for positive doctoral studies. Getting started, what it takes to pursue a PhD calmly and successfully. In this short and personal episode, the host reflects on her own PhD experience and shares why mindful academic writing is key to a positive and productive dissertation journey. A helpful listen for anyone beginning their PhD path.